Now once again, the FIA is fiddling with the format, but this time they're not necessarily fiddling with the format to try and improve the show. Oh my god, less than 10 seconds into reading this script and we've already said it. New record! But no, they're doing this as part of a sustainability drive instead. And this video is pretty much a there's nothing to see here, whack me on as background noise type of video. The footage you're going to see is probably just going to be me hot lapping in a set of Corsair because it's themed. Qualifying, fast laps, hot laps, well not in my case, but you know the score. The last time the FIA fiddled with the qualifying sessions it was, well it didn't go too well, did it? Because nobody knew what was going on and it felt a little, I mean I don't know how to describe it so I'm just going to say a word and hope you know what I'm on about. A bit video gamey. Like those old arcade machine games where you had to get to the checkpoint before the time expired. Every 90 seconds or something stupid like that someone was eliminated if they were last on the timing sheets. So basically the FIA tried to turn the qualifying sessions into a real life game of hang-on. Well, that was the most recent major change to the format. In reality, the last tweak was the removal of the "you must start on the tyres you used in the second session" rule. Needless to say, the winner stays on format, much like the aggregate format they tried in 2005 was quickly abandoned, because nobody knew what was going on. But what this new tinkering with the rulebook means is that the teams in theory should save a tiny bit of money, because this will reduce the sets of tyres available for each driver down from 13 to 11. Which doesn't sound like a big saving, but that's 16 fewer tyres or 16 less tyres, I don't know English, that the teams will have to cart around the world with them, if this trial becomes law, so to speak. The FIA's statement reads, "This will be done to evaluate the impact of the reduction in tyre allocation on track running, with the overall intention to move to a more sustainable use of tyres in the future." The FIA wants to trial this approach at 2 Grand Prix this season, and there will also be 2 tests in the season, hopefully, so that Pirelli can collect data and use that for development, hopefully into developing tyres that the drivers like. So what's changing? Some BS rule that nobody cares about? Some mad video game way of trying to conduct qualifying? More manufactured drama? Really, all that's changing is that you only use 1 tyre in each session, assuming you make it through all 3 that is. Yeah, that's it. So in the first session you use hards, the second you use mediums, final session you use softs. The theory behind it is, if you're trying to use mediums in the second session and then bolt on some softs for a YOLO lap right at the end to make sure you get into the third session because, well, you missed out because of track limits or traffic or yellow flags or whatever, that set of softs will have done an out lap and a YOLO lap, and then it's just going to get lobbed in the bin. Which is a bit, well, it's a bit wasteful by 2023 standards. Gone are the days of the 1980s where they had super sticky tyres made exclusively for qualifying. Tyres that, as far as I can tell, were much like the engines of the gearboxes. Good for about 40 miles or so and then just chucked aside. The days of the late 90s and into the early 2000s when the top teams could use fresh engines every race, changing gearboxes whenever they felt like it before the FIA said, nope, now you've got to make them the last 2 weekends. Been 2 weekends. Now they've got to last 7, 8 because of the allocation before penalties come in. I get why they're doing it. Inflation is running rampant, costs are skyrocketing, grids in lower categories and down into the club racing scene are probably going to be affected big time, and we've seen in recent days that Team Dynamics are not racing this season in the BTCC. Now for a more international audience, imagine Chip Ganassi not racing in IndyCar this year, or Triple Eight not racing in supercars, or McLaren taking a year out of F1. Whether that's because of money, we need to take a wait and see approach to that. You've got to have the top category leading by example, I guess. Now normally over a race weekend the drivers have access to 8 soft sets, 4 medium sets and 3 hard sets. Under the trial weekend rules that number will become a lot more balanced. 4 softs, 4 mediums, 3 hards. Which doesn't sound like a lot, and people are going to immediate doom and gloom over this, but think of it this way. They use a set of hards for practice 1 and qualifying 1, they've got a fresh set for the race if need be. They use a set of mediums in practice 2 and qualifying 2, that's 2 sets available for the race, assuming they only do 1 qualifying lap. If they use 2 sets in qualifying 3 for that last minute YOLO lap to get pole position or whatever, that's 2 sets for the race to accommodate for safety cars and stuff like that. So really, they're not losing a lot, I think. But this is where the yeah buts come in. Okay, you want the teams to save rubber, which in the long run should save them some money. But will this be used in conjunction with the sprint race formats too? If this format comes in, will it be in use with the sprint race format, or will they get an extra set of tyres for the sprint race weekend? Because if so, that will go against the whole purpose of doing this. And it's been something I've mentioned a few times now. You want the teams to cut down on XYZ, but you're making them cut down yet somehow do more. I suppose a sprint race will ensure that a set of tyres will be used. And Stefano Domenicali is a massive supporter of dropping the free practice session, so if it ever went ahead, and it's looking likely that it won't, but if it did, it might balance things out a little bit. But it does mean that the teams will now have to be fast on all of the tyres. We've seen before at various race weekends a car can be absolutely awful on one compound, but be brilliant on another. If a car can't use its hards properly, it's going to be in trouble in the first session. So there will need to be some sort of development, setup and driver skill involved with extracting the most out of it. Especially since the hards are the hardest to get up to temperature, which will be even harder at low degradation tracks. I mean, watching them try to get the heat into the hards at Monza. It's bad enough watching the top 10 try to get a tow. How's it going to be with 20 cars all wanting one? But I will say, this is less gimmicky than other formats the FIA has been fiddling with. It'll probably end up being one of those it'll be better than it sounds proposals. Will it shake up the grid? Doubt it, given that the top teams will make it into the second session regardless, and the bottom 5 will most likely remain the bottom 5. I still do prefer this current format over the old 1 hour 12 lap thing that was in the 90s, because all the action happened at the end. At least with this format there's usually something going on. It'll just be a wait and see approach to see if it'll actually do anything. You've taken 2 sets of tyres away. That's probably not going to be as big a deal as some on the internet are thinking. Nothing is going to change really, in my view at least. The races will still be the same one stopper, but if Pirelli builds more durable tyres off the back of this with the FIA's new idea, it might be a win-win. Probably. But I don't know. You lot have a chat about it in the comments. So then, a look at this interesting yet controversial tweak to the qualifying format for 2 races this season. Let me know what you think in the comments and all that good stuff, and while scrolling down, give the video a like and subscribe if you're not already, so you never miss out on a future. We're on the final little march towards 100k, apparently. A massive thanks as ever to the kind folk at Patreon for the continued support. If you want to help support the channel, you can do so by following the link to Patreon in the description. You can buy something from the F1 store, so I get a little bit of a kickback, and there's some offers on this week, I think, for that. Or there's super thanks down there too if you just want to refill my coffee cup, and there's also Discord and socials and all that stuff. So until next time, I've been Millward. Have a great day wherever you are, and goodbye.